So thank you, everyone. Welcome to our second PTSD Knowledge Nibble. We are very happy to welcome Steve and Kira and Gord and Fallon here to speak tonight. To get things going, I'm going to pass it over to our Executive Director and co-founder, Danny, to tell everybody a little bit about the PTSD program and how it got started. Floor is yours, Danny.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief. I know there's some people on that have been to our previous PTSD Knowledge Nibble, but for those of you who are first timers, some of you may or may not know that NSD's claim to fame is actually our autism service dog program. We were the first in the world to develop a service dog model for kids with autism, and we did that pretty much exclusively from 2000 right through to 2011. And part of the reason that we moved into the PTSD space for our first responders and our veterans is we had some really good dogs that just didn't have the right stuff or the best fit to be service dogs for children with autism, but they did really well with adult handlers who were fully verbal and could communicate clearly with the dog. And we were donating those dogs to other programs, and they were being successful guide dogs for the blind or going out as skills dogs for people with physical disabilities. And it seemed like we were giving away really good dogs because we didn't have a program that could accommodate their awesomeness. So we, in 2010, started looking for another program to add to our roster that focused on adult handlers, fully verbal, could have independently control the dog, because as you know, our autism service dogs, it's a three-way partnership between the parent, the child, and the dog. And at the time we started looking in 2010, PTSD service dogs were coming up in the US, and you started to hear buzz about them in North America. And we did a year's worth of research, and then we started what we call the Skilled Companion Dog Program for veterans and first responders at the very, very beginning, and moved into this space. And we became the first ADI accredited program in Canada to take on the PTSD service dog program. And we're super proud of that. We placed our first dog in 2011. And then we've just been spiraling up ever since then. So we're 12 years in, and we're far enough along now that we are actually in the position where we're doing successor dogs for our early graduates who feel they need another dog to continue to support them. So it's been a really wonderful journey. I credit the addition of our PTSD service dog program for really moving NSD into a fully humanized state of being. Our organization was started 27 and a half years ago by a bunch of dog trainers, including myself, who were dog people first and people second. And with the PTSD program, we took a deep dive into mental health, because mental health is not just an issue for our veterans and our first responders. The reality is we all have mental health challenges in our real lives, in whatever capacity. Our parents of children with autism will tell you that they struggle with how to manage their families and support their kids and all the stressors that go with that. So bringing on the PTSD program really kind of shifted NSD's focus more into a mental health space, and made us really fine-tune our focus on the human side of our business to a greater degree than we had been. Because the bulk of our first 2 years leading up to placing dogs with the likes of Steve and Gord is all dog, puppies and more puppies and dogs in training. And we hired our first mental health professional in 2012, I believe it was, and we've never looked back since then. Today we have 3 social workers on staff, and our model is our client service team handles all the people stuff, and our training team handles primarily the dog stuff. And then for team training, we amalgamate the two and they work in tandem to deliver the dog and the training that you guys need as graduates to be successful. And this model has been awesome for us. It's outside of the typical service dog model. Many schools, the trainers are responsible for doing all the client services as well as the dog training pieces. But I credit, like I said, the PTSD program for pushing us to step outside the norms of the service dog industry and take a leadership role on mental health and how we position our staff to support our clients in the best way possible. So yeah, it's been a journey, and out of our PTSD program grew our canine assisted interventions program, because going to mental health conferences, learning about PTSD, we were not only meeting potential clients for that program, but we were meeting treatment professionals looking for facility dogs to help them with a broader base of people. And that's kind of how our canine assisted interventions program slowly evolved. And we started taking a closer look at that. So lots of good things has come out of our PTSD program and allowed us to grow. And today we have our autism program, our PTSD program, canine assisted interventions that encompasses education facility dogs working as part of the mental health team in schools, both primary, secondary, and post high school. We have justice facility dogs working in various capacities with victim services, whether through police directly or child and youth advocacy centers. And we have our peer support facility dogs that are partnered with peer supporters who are promoting mental health within our uniformed service members, which is our first responder community. So we have dogs out with EMS, fire, police services in a mental health support role. So yeah, that's kind of how we kind of made the shift to mental health. And the PTSD program, like I said, from 2011 forward has never looked back. And we're very, very grateful to everybody who worked so hard to make the program go well. And I will give a shameless plug out to Wounded Warriors Canada, who's one of our main supporters for our PTSD and peer support facility dog program. And they help make everything we do within those programs super viable, and we're grateful for their support. I will jump in if anybody has questions later on, but you didn't come here to listen to me talk all night, although I could. And I'm going to pass it back to Emma to introduce our awesome guests.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny. So I will pass it over to Gord now to share his story. He has been paired up with NSD Fallon, and I'll let you take the floor, Gord.
Thank you very much. For this right now, the easiest thing for me is to do a slideshow. Hope you don't mind. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, and then I can talk as well while it happens, and hopefully that helps me. Oh, wrong button. Hang on. Where'd I go? Okay. I need to lose this somehow. How do I lose that? Okay. I'm there now. Okay. So, I don't know how much of this you can see. Hopefully enough. So Fallon and I met in September of 2020, and these dates are you don't forget these kinds of dates. This is our picture that we've gotten for our ID, and I was lucky enough to connect with Fallon's puppy raiser, and it was her first dog as well. So I got a couple of really super cute pictures of Fallon before I even met her or knew she even existed, I think. And that look, that face, that's a look of compassion. People say she looks sad. I don't see sadness, I see compassion, like she just cares. And that's her as a puppy, but you still see that now all the time. And throughout our years together, she's 3 years now, she's been everywhere. This is the dentist, and obviously the dentist doesn't have a lot of room. Pose is laying right on top of her, more than happy to be in that place and just hold space for me. And she's very attentive. She's always watching me. And this is a pose that I call downward porpoise. And I know I'm here, but are we really here for a long time? And eventually she'll settle in, and always she's more than willing to step up and nudge me. This is during a massage, and she'll still get up and come near me when I'm in a place where I need some attention from her. And she's got this special knack. She can get along with any dog there is. This is her doing a little bit of an over for someone else's dog, which is just her way of just wanting to show her affection and her compassion for everyone. And of course, she's always comfortable no matter where she is, willing to roll up into a little ball. We've had a few challenges, a couple of incidences in public access. Danny has stepped in and been absolutely amazing for helping us to get through it. Fallon never misses a beat. We got her during COVID, and things were, we weren't going out much, and wouldn't it be the one time I go out after 6 weeks that it's an incident and caused a lot of anxiety. NSD was right there. Danny was on the phone with me. Everything was worked through. We involved the people that needed to help educate, which was the best part about it. And of course, Fallon and our rescue, Tucker, and my son, Hunter. Fallon shares her bed with everyone. She really does settle in. She gets along with every dog she's ever met. And the ones that don't like other dogs, she just steps back. We actually got out of the car today to go to a massage, and she was sitting there and she wasn't paying attention to me. And I looked, and there was a squirrel on the fence. She wasn't excited. She wasn't like, let me check that out. She just looked. And I said, okay, you're with me. Come on. And she turned and walked away. No big deal. And this is her during one of our couples therapy appointments, curled up in front of the fireplace. She tends to just be present when we're in a place where I think she knows when people are in charge, like a therapist or someone's there, and she just sort of, okay, I'm going to step back a little bit and just let what happens happen. And we got out to Algonquin Park last year, got to check out all kinds of really neat places. And this is during a PTSD program where she had some downtime with one of the other veterans that was there, and you can just see she's really watching. This is a guy laying down taking the picture, and she's watching me sitting over to the side. So she's always on point, even when she's playing. And here we are in a restaurant with a bit of a tight booth, and I can see Steve laughing because he's been there too. You got a service dog on your feet and your wife's feet and the stool, and it just is what it is. And we were at an appointment with my veteran affairs officer last Thursday, and the booth was a little tighter than this, but it had a window right to the floor. And every person that walked by, oh, isn't that dog so cute? Fallon, just look at them and just stay there, never moving, always on point, paying attention. And of course, this is us doing our dad needs attention, putting a little weight on my leg. We had to work our over just a little bit so that it was more accommodating for my physical issues. And this is the PTSD program again, where she's playing with another service dog for a little while. As I say, she can turn it on and turn it off, but she's always watching. If I got up and left that room while she was playing, it was over. She'd just stand there and wait for me. And this one I wanted to put up here. It's not the greatest picture, but what I'm pointing out is in the top left, you can see people's feet. And this is 6 hours plus into a Catholic wedding and a German and Italian reception. So the food layer after, go and get this and this and this, and people just going by her, and she's just sitting there totally chill, watching me. Like, those people don't matter. It's been a big difference for me, because that allowed me to be at that wedding in front of people with people passing right around behind me, causing, some anxiety, but Fallon was right there with me the whole time. And say she gets along with every size dog, little ones, big ones. And she fits in little teeny tiny beds when she's really, really tired. And this is us at a PTSD program just recently, and they put her in a Adirondack chair with a sheepskin because she was like, they're just like, no, she needs to be up here. I put her in a downstay, and they're like, no, she's up here. Oh, just amazing how she behaves. She's like, I'm good. I'm not going to move. And again, she works hard all day and plays hard, and then she's exhausted sometimes. And she takes mom's pillow, which is what she's on right there, if you can see it, and her poncho. And of course, we love to have fun. She's a ham. She stirs the pot. And that's it. Where am I? Right there. So for us, I think there's been a lot of changes. It's been somewhat difficult in places. There's been some things that I would like to do that I have to plan ahead now. I have to take my time. I can't just go and do things. So there's a little bit of that foresight. And I guess in the beginning, I won't lie, I felt like I didn't deserve her because she was amazing.
You do deserve
She's
her,
changed
Gord.
my life. She's
Yep.
changed my life. And all the people that are helping
Yeah.
and giving their time.
Yeah. You guys, through your service, have supported Canadians coast to coast, people you don't even know. You deserve her. Don't you worry about that, my friend. And we're happy to have provided her. You guys are great handlers, so don't you second guess that one for a second.
Before Fallon, I wouldn't have been able to do this. There's no way I could have done this.
And I do have to give kudos to Gordon and Cindy because they did. They came down in the fall of 2020. We had a gap in our lockdowns for COVID. It was not a normal team training situation. And we had a client from out west come to get a dog, and the two of them bonded, and we just ripped through team training. And here we are, 3 years later to the week almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The month that you guys have been together. So congratulations.
We just finished our last public access test. She's smooth, and because COVID didn't allow certain things to happen, this time they took her and disappeared and went around the corner, and I'm like, okay, never been there before. And it's like Fallon's like, hang on a minute, and within about 5 seconds she's like, okay, I know I got to be with this person for a few minutes. No worries. So she wasn't anxiety, which is something, she hasn't left my side more than 3 hours a week. I do a little time at a farm where I just shovel manure and kind of do my thing. And Fallon doesn't need to get her feet dirty, just telling you.
Yeah, you just don't want a dog in the house that reeks of horses and manure.
Exactly.
I
Well, I don't want to
know.
wash your feet every week either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But those are the little changes we make. And when Cindy's working at home, I'm able to let her stay with Cindy, and Fallon does the under the desk, and she snores, I think, some days. So
Keeps my feet warm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys are great ambassadors for the program. And but as Gord pointed out, you would think in 2023 the accessibility pieces would be more fluid, but the reality is wherever you go, there's people who just don't understand the access laws or don't care, and it pops up. And that's probably the number one thing our clients have to deal with, taking their dogs into public, is an uneducated public, which is why it's great for you guys to help with this stuff, because understanding that, there's 25 of us on this call, and everybody walking away from this, and of course all our volunteers with NSD have a better understanding, but we're advocates in the community and educators across the board as well, right? So we all work together to hopefully make things easier for everybody who's having accessibility issues. So thank you.
And we have, like Gordon mentioned, we had a couple of difficulties with access. So we try and get ahead of it now. So if there's somewhere we're going to go, I will call ahead and say, letting you know we're coming with a service dog. We don't need any special accommodations. I just want to let you know, the restaurant or wherever we're going, so that we don't have a problem when we get there. You're aware of the access laws. Yes, we are. Okay, great. We'll see you tomorrow night or whatever. But and anytime I've called ahead to give them the heads up, we've had no resistance at all. Everyone's on board. Yep, no problem. Bring them on in. And they, like I said, we don't ask for special accommodations, but because they know we're bringing a dog, they'll make sure to find us a table that's maybe out of the main pathway because they think we need it, which is we don't, but it's great that they're thinking about us that way. It's appreciated.
And here in Ontario, they don't want to put us near the service dog that's already there either. That made my head scratch the first time, but then I saw that service dog with the flashing light and the guy picking him up and sticking him in everybody's faces and on their tables. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for not putting me near that. Because that's just not a real service dog. But and that's the hard part, is the corporate world is designed to just let it be what it is. They want to make money. They're not going to argue with that guy and not let him in. And that's unfortunate. So the rules have to change.
We need a service dog act in Ontario, just like they have where Steve is out in BC. That would be super helpful. There you go. Government issued provincial service dog access card. All access pass.
Awesome. Well, that was a good segue then. Gord, if you don't have anything else you want to add, I'll maybe throw it over to Steve, and he can fill us in on his journey with NSD Kira. And then for all our volunteers, we'll open it up to questions at the end. Steve, over to you.
There. That should do it.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm Steve. I live in Victoria, and Kira, come. I am 73 years old, and was told that I've had PTSD since for 71 years. So that is what started me off. When I ex-military, first responder, emergency nurse, that, over the years, I developed some really strange ways of dealing with PTSD. And one of them was throwing myself into work. And can you still hear me? Yeah, okay. And I would throw myself into work, and eventually I got to the point where I couldn't work anymore. So then all of the things that I was using work to hide came back. And in 2012, I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. And we had lost a family dog, and we were looking for another one, but it just wasn't going to work. And somebody said, what about a service dog? And I sort of thought, I looked at places, searched, and really didn't find anything that was going to work. I had one instance where I had a private trainer agreeing to train a service dog for me. And the date that we were going to sign the contract, they changed the rules in BC concerning service dogs and who could train them. That was a big disappointment. We started looking again, and my wife, Kathy, found National Service Dogs. And I applied, and God, it was...
Don't say it. It was a long time ago.
I'm sorry?
I said it was a long time ago.
Oh, 7, 8 years now, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe
Uh,
with COVID, it was kind of crazy.
yeah, it was 2016 when I filled out the application. Anyway, it was a lot, a lot of things, and I sent the application in and got the approval, and that was it. And one thing that's really important to remember is if you've the waiting was difficult, whether it's 2 years, 6 years, whatever. But what I used to use to make myself, encourage myself was saying that if you're told you're going to get a dog, you will. It's going to happen. Might not happen quick, but it's going to happen. And when you do get a dog, it's going to be the best dog in the world. It's going to be well trained, and it's going to be really helpful. And so that's basically my story up until getting Kira. Now, I don't know the pictures.
Yeah.
Are they in
Yeah.
here?
No, I think we have to ask Emma.
Oh, Emma has to download them.
I will share them for you.
Yeah.
That's us at graduation, December 3rd, in the parking lot of the store, the mega store there. And that was incredible. It really was. It wasn't an end, it was a beginning. And so that was basically it. My heart was in my throat when we went to the airport because she'd never flown. I had never flown with a dog. And it turned out that Rochelle came to the airport with us, which was great. And the lady at the ticket counter, Rochelle explained to her, this is what we're going to do. And this fella has a service dog, da 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 da. And the ticket agent came on the plane with us, made sure we were settled, explained to the cabin crew that what was going on. We got into the bulkhead seat. Kira laid down. I gave her a treat. The engine started up. She started a bit, and I gave her another treat. She laid down, and that was it. She slept all the way from Cambridge to Calgary. And it was amazing. It really was, because this was a new thing, totally new, and everything was working out just fine. We got to the Calgary airport. We had to wait 5 hours, and that was really interesting because one of the funny things is they quote unquote have toilets, restrooms for dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that it was AstroTurf and a fire hydrant in a human bathroom. And Kira kind of looked at me and, you want me to do that? Give me a break. And so she, like she always is, she held it for like 8 hours. It was it was amazing. And the flight from Calgary to Victoria was, we got on the plane. We were sitting in the smaller bulkhead seat, and the cabin crew went up to the people sitting in the big one and said, would you mind moving so this gentleman can have his service dog more room? And they got up and they said sure, and they moved, and it was amazing. And when we landed in Victoria, everybody was saying, how was your dog? How did it do during the flight? Is it okay? And that was our beginning. The first day we went out, we got challenged. The person didn't want us in their store. And normally this would be, I'd be ready to go, right? I'd be fighting them, boy. That would be it. I'd be in their face. And I just looked at him and said, no, that's not the way to do it. I said, if you want, I can have somebody come down and explain it to you, but this is a service dog and it is allowed to be here. They looked at the patch and said, okay, that was it. It was over. But it was the first time, and it was scary, but it was also great because it worked out really well. So from then on, Kira has just been incredible. Her training, wow, it's, you know, she never she never misses a beat unless there's a cat or a squirrel. And she eventually will come back. And yeah, she's amazing. That's all I can say. The training, and you know, for volunteers, wow. I mean, what you do training these dogs is amazing. And even if, you know, it's really snowy and cold and you've got to go to a class, remember that this dog is going to save somebody's life. And you know, that's about all I can say. You know, we've gone to restaurants. We also call ahead and say, look, you know, we've got a service dog, and they're never really, they've been always really good. You know, when we go in, you know, they'll say what, two for a table for two, and I'll usually say 2.5, and they'll look down and they'll say, oh yeah, okay. And you know, where would you like to sit? People are so accommodating. It's amazing. So these dogs do such they're incredible. Even to people around when she's out, she calms people down. People see her and they smile, which is really quite something. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's you know, about all I can say. I know Kathy might have something to say.
Oh, I think you did a pretty good job. I wonder if we can flip through the photos. Maybe that'll bring up something. Thank you. That's the
There
plane.
she is in the
Yeah,
plane.
that's the smaller volcano.
Yeah. And yeah, she was fine. She was just
A
laying
bit of a
there.
peanut though, so she fits real nice on a plane.
Really, really good. And it was quite something, because I think the cabin staff were a little bit nervous about her, and you know, jumping up and that. I can see why. But the trip from Calgary to Victoria, they would come by, and Kira had actually fallen asleep with her head on my foot, and they would come by and look and smile, and that was basically it. And they all greeted us as we were leaving the plane. And you know, that's she drips goodness. She drips steady. She's solid, and that's exactly what I needed. For me, it wasn't bad dreams. It was actually falling asleep. I would have trouble falling asleep because I would be afraid people were going to sneak up on me. And I can now put my hand down and she's there, and you know, she'll lick my hand, and I usually fall asleep. And that's, you know, that's what she does. She does a perfect job. And I remember thinking about the first time we had her. We had her out, and we were coming home, and she stopped and took a dump on the sidewalk. And of course, I didn't panic, but I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? Why did this happen? And I called the trainers, and they were okay. And they said, look, you know, it happens. It was not a bump in the road, it was a dump in the road. And that was, you know, it's never happened again. And it was just, you know, we were new. And you know, I didn't realize that what she had been through was a lot for a dog, and a lot for a human, but a lot for a dog. And for the first month, you know, I was kind of wondering, you know, is she going to be like this? You know, she was tired, she was sleepy and everything. And then I realized that, yeah, what she had gone through, you know, the training, being with other dogs, knowing the people at National Service Dogs, and then all of a sudden everything's tossed in the air. There's new people, new smells, new places, new sounds. And she just took it really well. She just went through. So yeah, I mean, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's you know, to us,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And you know, Kathy's interaction with Kira is a little limited, but we've kind of worked on that, and you know, so that's kind of working a lot better.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, it'll be, yeah. So I think there's one more picture. Oh, there we
There's
are.
a bunch that's
Yeah,
just
this
there.
was when we were just home and I had to have the leash on all the time. And then there she is in our backyard. And there she is.
After her first step.
And we get snow too. And she just loves the snow. And there we were walking down a trail just across from our house, and it's really quite nice and it's peaceful. And she loves going in there because there's all kinds of stuff. There's bush and bunnies and birds and everything. So yeah. And you know, it gets us out, gets me out, gets us out once a day, twice a day, playing in the backyard and walks and that. So yeah, it's you know, we're into almost our starting our third year, and wow, you know, I'm rambling on here, but you know, they're great. The dogs help so much. So volunteers, thank you. Thank you a lot. I guess that's about it.
Thank you so much, Steve. That's lovely. I'm so glad she's working out for you guys. Yeah, they do make a huge difference, right? And it's not just for you. It's like you said, they kind of, well, I think Gord, you said empathy. They kind of just ooze empathy and calmness. And I think that radiates out wherever they are, regardless of who the handler is, right? So it's kind of the magical piece. So I'm happy to say with our new client onboarding process, people aren't waiting that long anymore.
Good.
We have 5 people in our PTSD class as we speak. They're taking their dogs home on Saturday, and the newbies in the group only waited 12 months. So under our new process, yeah, we hope that those days of long waits are over.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing your stories. For all the volunteers on the call, does anyone have any questions for our speakers? You can either pop yourself off mute or put them in the chat box.
A quick question. Do we do any sort of training at the airport here in
Oh, yeah.
I can answer that one. So actually, yes, we just recently, within the last, I guess close to a year now, have developed a relationship with the KW airport. So we have had the opportunity to take the dogs that are in advanced training through, as well as our puppies in training through for puppy classes. So all of those dogs have had the opportunity to visit the airport on days where there isn't flights coming through and do the whole security experience and walk through the whole airport, and even hear some of the planes on the tarmac. So they are getting a little more exposure now thanks to that relationship.
And what also helps is with COVID being lifted, pre-COVID, we used to do a staff day and everybody'd take a dog and we'd head into Toronto to do the Eaton Center. And now that we're back with our groups, we've been taking the dogs into the aquarium. So they take the GO train in, and the GO train is not a plane, but it's a similar type crush, the movement, the sound. So it gives them an opportunity to have that experience too.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions before we all sign off?
everybody's just weighing in, just so if you guys don't see the comments, they're just thanking everybody. We've got comments coming in, just thanking you guys for sharing your story, letting us take a peek behind the curtain, letting us know that the dogs we love first and are still doing well and fulfilling their mission, and what have you. But we're grateful for your advocacy as well, because we prepare the dogs for you, but you guys maintain them, and you're our public face, right? And you guys are out there in a passive way, sometimes in a more direct way, like tonight. And you're, representing the entire service dog community, and you guys do it beautifully. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, if nobody has any more questions, then I think we're all good. Thank you everyone for joining us, and have a good evening.
Yes, good night, and happy
everyone.
afternoon for you folks out in BC, because it's
Okay.
it's still the middle of the afternoon for you
Oh,
guys.
that's right. Yeah, the 3 hours difference. Right.
Here.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have a good dinner, and good night to the rest of us. It's pitch dark here now.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah. Good night, guys.